Hey guys, NostalgicWriter here. I am going to take a brief second to formally apologize for the lack of focus in these recent videos. I'm trying really hard to give you something that's actually, viewable, but what I used to record my pen review videos on was the iPhone 5S. Got a text message while we were sitting there. Hi, wife. Um, anyhow, and the phone seems to have forgotten how to focus on things. It can't focus anymore, and that's kind of a problem. So my wife, being awesome, actually bought me a camera, and it seems to have similar trouble focusing. So we're gonna get through this time together, but it is what it is. So anyhow, let's get started. The Lamy Safari, an ABS plastic pen, retailing between $20 and $30 depending on where you're buying it. It has an empty weight of 0.56 ounces or 16 grams. It is 5.5 inches while capped, or 13.75 centimeters, or 13.575 centimeters. It is 6.5 inches when posted. For those who may be uninitiated, this is what a posted is, or 16.25 centimeters, which isn't crazy. If you hear rustling, I've got a kitten trying to get up on me, so that's what that is. So posted length is actually pretty good. It's got a pretty solid deal there. But anyhow, I digress. So the Lamy nibs are steel. It's the pretty standard interchangeable Lamy steel nib. This can swap nibs with the Vista, the All-Star, and a couple of others I don't remember off the top of my head right now. So what we have on there is the medium right now. It comes in extra fine, medium, broad, and then in some italic nibs, the 1.1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, and the 1.9 millimeter. This pen originally came with the 1.5 millimeter, but I'm kind of looking at this as, is this going to be a good beginner pen? Sorry guys. Anyhow, is this going to be a good beginner pen? I don't expect you to be writing like school notes and stuff with a 1.5 millimeter stub nib, although it's really fun. So let's get going. How's the pen write? Well, it writes well. You've got writing samples from an earlier take up here. So it writes fairly well. It originally came with pretty bad sweet spots. It's wrote cone. Right? So I'm writing kind of big so that you can hopefully read it. Right, it came with some sweet spots. And when I say that, I mean that it would only write in a certain position. I'm going to take this off so you can it kind of had to write cockeyed right here, and that came on the All-Star. So I took the nib from the All-Star, put it on here. Over time, it's worked itself loose. I can actually write with it in, the positions that I normally write in. Now with the triangular grip section, which is hopefully very, very apparent with the shadows, this does force you to have that, corrected grip. So it's consistent at least. Now as far as flex goes, I mean, you could force it to, but I wouldn't recommend it. That's a good way to bust your nib. So now that we've covered that, it writes really well now that it's had a break-in period. For a beginner pen, to have a break-in period is kind of sucky. It's like if I were to recommend a gun to someone who's never owned one before, I'm probably not going to suggest something that has a break-in period. Same goes for pens. I don't like doing that to you. Now as far as like pocketing this thing and carrying it goes, it is 5.5 inches long. And to recap, that was 13.75 centimeters. It's about the maximum length any of my pockets are. I mean, it is a flat fit to the bottom of the pocket, which is really kind of a bummer. I don't really like it touching the bottom of the pocket, and reason being, if I push on the bottom of the pocket, what's going to happen, right? It's going to push itself up and up and up. and proceed to hopefully not fall out. Luckily, I have not had the pen fall out of my pocket. I have, however, caught that flared end of the clip on a bit of fencing. Pocket clip used to sit flush like that. Now it sits out here. I can't seem to fix it. You know, so just things to be aware of when the pen is in your pocket. Now, do I like the pen? Yeah, it's pretty light. It's pretty easy to tote around. Once the break-in period was done, it's actually super reliable and super easy to use. The problem is I have trouble trusting it with that flared lip and the sweet spots. That makes it a little harder for me to recommend it for entry-level people. And I don't mind so much the, got some ink on the body because I'm flinging it around so much. Anyhow, it does use proprietary cartridges and converter. This is the Z24 converter, and there will be a clip at the very, very end of the video showing you how to fill with the Z24 converter if you want to watch. If you don't bother. It's okay. But, you know, I don't think that's actually a bad thing. Once you buy the converter, it's not a huge deal. The converter itself isn't terribly expensive. It's not like getting the Con 20 or Con 50 for the Pilot pens. So to bust it down to the very basics of what you need to know in a pen review, sorry, I keep spinning it so you can hopefully get the Lamy logo. Would I recommend it? Yes. Would I recommend it for a beginner? Maybe. Depends on how you want to work. You know, it is a pretty light pen. If that's super duper important to you, cool. If you need a slightly bigger pen that's going to fit bigger hands a little better, that's also fine. I don't think that's a big deal at all. But this isn't going to be my go-to for a beginner pen. It's just not. It's never going to be. You know, the issues I've had with the pocket clip, the issues I've had with those sweet spots on the nib, and that only goes for the medium. I have not had that problem with the stub nib, which, I mean, you shouldn't with a stub nib, but either way. You know, the issues I've had with those make it probably my second or even third choice for beginner pens. If you want to buy it, buy it. Just remember, it's maybe not the perfect option.